Welcome everyone. In this presentation, we are going to look at the lymphatic system. This follows our discussion on the circulatory system in humans, where we looked at the pump, which is the heart, and then we looked at the blood vessels, where we talked about the capillaries, veins, and then the arteries. And then we looked at the tissue fluid, which is blood. So we looked at the blood vessels, the blood, and then the heart. Okay? Now, the lymphatic system is also similar to the circulatory system. So we are going to look at it. We want to see what is it made of its components, and how lymph, which is the fluid circulating within the lymphatic system, different from blood. And then we also look at the role of the lymphatic system. We shall look at the importance of the lymphatic system. So similar to the circulatory system, the lymphatic system consists of lymphatic vessels, which we are terming now the network of vessels. Okay. It also has tissues, which we shall see, called the lymphoid tissues. We'll look at that, and then, of course, these tissues are part of what we call the lymphoid organs. They work closely, okay, or they work alongside the circulatory system to maintain fluid balance in the body, and also play an important role in the immune system. So the first function is maintaining fluid balance. The second function is about playing an important role in the immune system. So we're going to see what really makes up the lymphatic system. So we already talked about lymphatic vessels, or the lymph vessels, which are the thin tubes that you can see here. These ones here. Okay, these are all lymphatic vessels. We can call them the lymph vessels. They are tubes that carry the fluid which flows within the lymphatic system, and that fluid is what we call the lymph here. Okay. So in the circulatory system, we have blood flowing, and then in the lymphatic system, you have lymph that is actually flowing. Okay, and then along these vessels, or along the lymphatic vessels, we have tiny swellings that we call the lymph nodes. So you see the things that are like appearing like dots here, and some of them are concentrated around certain places, and where they are very, very many. Okay, those are the ones we call the lymph nodes. They are bean shaped. They are found along the lymph vessels, and still they contribute towards filtering the foreign bodies, and also destroying the pathogens, and also removing out damaged cells from the lymph. Okay, so they act as sieves. Make sure that those things that are not needed are actually contained, and for pathogens they are destroyed or neutralized, and the same happens to other debuts and damaged cells generally. Okay, so those are the lymph nodes, and then we move to what we earlier on termed as the lymphoid organs, which have lymphoid tissues in them. They are very specialized structures that are found within the lymphatic system. They play an important role in the immune response. Okay, so when the body is invaded by pathogens, which are disease-causing organisms, these organs help in dealing with these pathogens. Okay, so how do they deal with them? They have cells that we call the lymphocytes. These cells are like this, the soldiers who are ready to see what danger is there, what enemy do we have, and then they attack and destroy these pathogens who we are calling the enemies. Okay, so the lymphoid tissues have lymphocytes, which are a special type of white blood cells that can destroy pathogens. Okay, so they are very important as one of the layers or one of the key players of defense. Okay, and that type of defense that is offered by the lymphocytes in terms of immunity is what we call the adaptive immune response. Okay, so they attack and destroy these pathogens, even the foreign substances, and even worn out cells that are no longer needed. They clear them. So these lymphoid organs, where we find these lymphoid tissues, include the tonsils. Okay, the tonsils in the pharyngeal area. So around your mouth, we have lymphoid tissues that help in protecting around the area around the back of your mouth and even the throat. So those ones we call them the tonsils. We have different types of tonsils. And then we have another organ that we call the thymus gland. Okay, the thymus gland is also another lymphoid organ here. And then we have the spleen, that's another important lymphoid organ. And then around the intestines, we have lymphoid tissues or lymphoid aggregated lymphoid nodules that also survey the area around the intestines. And the appendix also has some lymphoid tissues. But remember that the role of the lymphoid tissues is basically to fight against pathogens. They trap these pathogens and destroy them. Okay, that is because they contain the lymphocytes. Okay, because they contain the lymphocytes, which are the type of white blood cells. And we already know that white blood cells fight against disease-causing organisms that we call the pathogens. Okay, so we have already looked at the examples of the lymphoid tissues, and we have looked at the thymus, we have looked at the tonsils, we have looked at the spleen, and then we also have the adenoids. All these are examples of lymphoid tissues or lymphoid organs. Okay, so how does this system work? For example, we know for the case of the circulatory system, we have the blood that is flowing in the blood vessels, and that blood is pumped by the heart. So what really happens for the lymphatic system? For the lymphatic system, we have lymph as the fluid that is flowing in these vessels. Now this fluid comes from tissue fluid. Okay, tissue fluid. Remember, we said that the formation of tissue fluid is that we have excessive fluid escaping into the intercellular spaces. So this fluid within the intercellular spaces, for example, we have here, let's just use this illustration. We have these blood vessels. Blood is carried away from the heart using the arteries. Now the arteries divide into form smaller branches that we call the arterioles. The arterioles are the ones that connect to blood capillaries. before forming what we call the venules that will connect to the veins, and the veins will take the blood back to the heart. That is how we have the transition from arteries to arterioles to capillaries to venules to arteries that take blood back to the heart. Now, around the area where we have the arterioles connecting to the arteries, you will have fluid that is going to escape from these blood vessels into the surrounding area, which we are calling the interstitial space, or we can call that the intercellular spaces. So this fluid, it is formed because it just escapes because of this pressure that comes from the arterial end. So this fluid will now enter into another system of vessels that we call the lymphatic vessels. So this is basically to say that we get the lymph from the tissue fluid, and the tissue fluid is excess fluid that escapes the circulatory system into the intercellular spaces. Okay, so this fluid now moves through the lymphatic vessels, and it is through that journey that you will have the pathogens, the foreign bodies, the dead cells all being trapped and then destroyed. Okay, especially in the lymph nodes. So that is how the lymphatic system works. So so far we have known that the lymphatic system is very important in fighting against pathogens. We have seen that it allows tissue balance, tissue fluid balance or fluid balance in the body, because the excess fluid that escapes from the blood vessels is being carried away by the lymphatic vessels. Okay, as fluid, while the fluid flow within the lymphatic vessels. And then the other function of the lymphatic system is that it plays an important role in absorption of fats within the gastrointestinal tract. Okay, when you look at digestion, you will see that the lactose are very important in absorption of fats, and these are linked to the lymphatic system. So they play an important role in absorption of fats. Okay, and then destroying, apart from destroying the pathogens, they can also destroy dead cells, the tubules, and the other cellular waste. This can be eliminated. Remember that the lymphatic fluid will end up back into the circulatory system. Okay, let's remember that the lymph will eventually enter the blood circulatory system. So let's look at the differences between here there is double D for blood, but I think this will be corrected. So the differences between blood and the lymph. Blood is red, lymph is colorless, and then in terms of composition, blood has plasma and the blood cells. The blood cells include the red blood cells, white blood cells, and then the platelets. For the lymph, we have plasma and white blood cells, which we termed as lymphocytes earlier on. The blood is part of the circulatory system, the lymph is part of the lymphatic system. What is being carried by blood includes oxygen, nutrients, hormones, the waste products throughout the body, whereas then the lymph carries fluid and the waste from tissues and carries white blood cells that fight infections. Okay, and then the way the blood circulates is that it is continuous. Okay, blood is taken away from the heart and then brought back to the heart. It is a continuous process. But for the lymph, it is a one-way flow towards the heart. Okay. So what are the disorders of the lymphatic system? So let's look at some of the examples of the disorders of the lymphatic system. The first one is lymphatic filariasis. This condition is caused by parasitic worms that enter the, the lymphatic vessels and block the lymphatic vessels. And if the lymphatic vessels are being blocked, it means that the excess tissue fluid will not be drained away, and therefore you will have the legs swelling, just like what you see in the picture. And this is caused by a special type of mosquito. Okay, it's the one that carries the disease-causing organism. So the mosquitoes are basically the vectors. And then we have edema. Edema is when you have swelling, especially of the legs, that is caused because of the excessive fluid that it builds up in tissues. And this can also happen when there is a lymphatic blockage. The lymph does not flow as it's supposed to flow. Okay, so you will have edema manifesting. Although edema also can happen when someone is malnourished. And then we also have lymphoma, the cancers of the lymphatic system. And there are very many types of lymphomas. Okay? So when we talk about a cancer, we are saying that the cells are dividing very rapidly and forming many cells. Okay, abnormal growth of cells. They're dividing and dividing and dividing, and that is not good. So lymphoma is the cancer of the lymphatic system. So it affects the lymphatic system and therefore brings about issues to do with the reduced immunity. Okay? Because the cells that are being produced that are very many are not very, very competent. And then tonsillitis. Remember the tonsils that we talked about that are around your throat and the back of your mouth. These are very important in fighting against infections, but they can also get infected by viruses or bacteria. So when they get this inflammation caused by viruses or bacteria, we say that you have what we call tonsillitis. Okay, so how do you prevent lymphatic disorders? For disorders caused by the mosquito, by the vector mosquito, it means that you need to select the mosquitoes. Okay, you can prevent them. We also talked about the fact that edema can be caused because of lymphatic drainage, but also if you have a healthy diet, it can really help. Okay, avoid getting exposed to dangerous chemicals because they can cause cancers, and we call the cancers of the lymphatic system as lymphomas. And then good hygiene is very important in preventing tonsillitis. So thank you for listening to this presentation. We have looked at the lymphatic system. We say the system that has lymphatic vessels that transmit the fluid called lymph. And this lymph contains fluids and cells that are very important in fighting against infections and pathogens. Okay, I'm also filtering out dead views and also dead cells. And we say that along this lymphatic vessels, we have swellings that we call the lymph nodes. These are very important because they keep or they house the lymphocytes, which are very important type of white blood cells that provide us with immunity. Thank you very much.